Meditation. There are so many descriptions, so many books, so many techniques. It's overwhelming. So I thought I could share with you my practical guide to meditation with all the pitfalls, all the things that I experience or I have experienced over the years through meditation. And so we go through this together, step by step, stage by stage, and hopefully I will be able to reveal the same pitfalls, the same obstacles that we all encounter with this process really of meditation. First and foremost, meditation, there's nothing to seek. There's nothing really to gain because he's just revealing something that's already there. It's your own natural state. So, first of all, you need to find physically a position that enables you to sit as comfortably and to sit as effortlessly as you can. Now, I'm quite happy sitting on the floor, but I know a lot of people aren't. A seat in classes, a seat on retreats, in workshops, that maybe it's a nice idea that you want to look like one of the classical meditators sitting in lotus, but if that's not practical for you, really, if you're uncomfortable when you sit, well then all you're going to be thinking about for however long you meditate is the discomfort of your posture. So first and foremost, you find a comfortable position. It doesn't need to be sitting on the floor. Use a chair, just as long as you've got your head, neck and spine balanced and in alignment, your feet grounded. You can sit on a chair, a hard-backed, high-back chair. They're the best. Or if you're happy to sit on the floor, use supports, use cushions, use the wall behind you. You might wonder, why can't I lie down and meditate? Well, the answer to that is you'll probably fall asleep. So sitting upright, it also influences the practice energetically. It's the movement of energy, prana, through your spine, through the nadi, the mystical energy channels. So first and foremost, you find a position that feels right for you, and then do you have your eyes open or do you have your eyes closed? Well, again, that's entirely up to you. Personally, when I'm practicing, especially indoors, I prefer to have my eyes closed. But if I'm somewhere in nature, maybe a beautiful location, it seems such a waste, such a shame to sit there with my eyes closed. So I have my eyes open, but it's not as if I'm scrutinising the landscape, the nature around me. If your eyes are open, you just stare vacantly into space. You might momentarily become distracted by, I don't know, a bird flying past, but it's the same as a distraction from your mind. You witness it, you observe it, and then you go back to staring vacantly into space. So your comfortable seated position, whether or not you have your eyes open or your eyes closed, then what do you focus upon? So for me, simplicity in itself, I focus upon my breath, because hopefully, and for quite a long time in the future, it'll be there. It's always there. It's a constant reminder, the flow of your breath, of your connection with the here and now, this present moment. It's at the essence of any meditational practice, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your breath. In the past, I used to have really bad asthma, and I didn't want to be reminded of the breathing condition. So focusing upon my breath in the past could induce stress, tension. So maybe your breath isn't right for you to focus on. So there are other things you can do. You can focus on the different energy centers. Some people like to focus upon their heart space, that feeling, that sensation in the space behind your breastbone, or maybe the third eye, that space behind your eyebrow center. So it's individual to you. Try different experiences, try different methods, different things to focus upon. Externally, You can focus upon a candle flame. You can focus upon any object, an apple, an acorn, just as long as it's not going to really move about too much, because you're just holding your awareness in one place. And that leads me to the next part of the meditational process or practice, is what happens. So usually, I can remember, and I can remember really well back in the day, I had no idea about meditation. I just read it in a book, and I thought it's part of the yoga process, so I will make myself sit, time myself, and I'll come to timings in a moment. I had no idea, and so just sat daydreaming, really, just thinking, if you like, with my eyes closed. So you find a point of focus, something in which can hold your mind relatively steady. So it can be your breath, it can be one of the energy centers, it can be an apple. Usually your mind will stay relatively calm and quiet for a few seconds, and then the mind will want to make itself heard, and so it'll question maybe. So you're sitting there following your breath, and there'll be some random thought. This is a waste of time, you're not doing that right. Or it could be an external distraction. It can be, I don't know, the sound of traffic outside, or a car alarm going off somewhere in the distance, and that takes your focus away then from your breath. So what do? You simply bring your focus back to whatever your point of focus is, and it might happen many times. The most distracting aspect from meditation really is your mind. It'll just repeatedly try and come up with some different thought or some mental scenario that'll just draw you away from the peace, the tranquility of focusing upon your breath or whatever it is you're focusing upon. So perfectly natural. It's a function of the mind to think, so don't think you're doing it wrong. And maybe you, for however your allotted time to meditate, maybe you're constantly coming back to your breath, but that's the process. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not failing. There is no failure. You might have a busy mind, you might have a quiet, calm mind, but it's the witnessing, it's the observation which is at the essence of the practice. Another thing that happens, so you're sitting, you might be sitting on a chair, on the floor, you get discomfort. Maybe your leg goes to sleep, or you feel that you really need to adjust your position. So what I say there is, usually ask yourself 3 times, do I really need to move my leg? Or it could be an itch. I remember having a sort of feeling an itch on one cheek and meditating and going, I'll itch the cheek, and then I'm back to meditation, and then the other cheek itches, and then scratching the back of my head. It's another distraction. So what I do, ask yourself 3 times, do I really need to move my leg, or do I really need to scratch my cheek? And if the feeling still persists for the second time you ask or you inquire, stay with it. The 3rd time, you might really need to move your leg. So stretch your leg out, scratch that itch, but then come back to your practice. You've not failed. You come back, you bring your focus back to your breath, or again, whatever your point of focus is. How long to meditate? Now, if you're just starting out, I think 5 minutes is pretty much the minimum because, do you know, let me say this, you need to get in a way, bored of the process. You need to question the process to really begin to unfold, to unpick the subtleties of the dynamics between your mind, feelings, emotions, your body, your breath. So 5 minutes, and I would time yourself as well. Don't look at a clock, because then you're just going to be constantly looking at the clock to see how long you've been meditating. So have a timer, something that's not got too much of a harsh sort of alarm at the end of it, because that can be quite jarring, that can be quite unsettling. So 5 minutes minimum. 10 minutes is a nice daily practice. 10 minutes meditation. If you get up, a little bit earlier than you usually would, and just sit for 10 minutes, and then you'll see, with the regularity of your practice, you'll see one day, a very busy mind. The next day, and this one always makes me smile when I think in the past. I remember sitting there, I've been practicing meditation, or what I thought was meditation, for a few weeks, maybe a few months, and there was a stillness. There was a profound stillness, a profound calm. And then what happens? My mind, it goes, yes, you're doing it. You can meditate. And just like that, back to the beginnings, back to bringing my focus back to your breath. So some days it can be a busy mind, some days it can be a calm, quiet and tranquil mind. But you're not looking to repeat whatever state of mind you experience, because it'll always be different. Maybe, and I'll say this after years and years of practice, the stillness, the serenity, you become to realise that it is the background. But even now, as I sit some mornings, randomly, I can feel a little more unsettled, a busier mind. So don't have an agenda, and certainly don't have a judgment. Be patient, be consistent. Try and meditate, try and sit for the same time every day, if you can. And then you have an idea, then. You become familiar with the process, with the different processes that you go through, the different experiences you have as you meditate. And then you come to realise, or I came to realise, that meditation isn't just something to be practiced when you sit for your 5 minutes, for your 10 minutes. Once you touch on that stillness, and it is there, it's within us all, really it is, well, then you recognise it when you move away from your meditation, when you move through your day, when you move through your life. And so it becomes a whole day, a whole life experience. You don't really need to try that much. It just, the witnessing, whatever the situation, there can be a stressful situation arises when you're in the town, and you're moving from that foundation of tranquility, of serenity. So don't think, if you're just starting out in the meditation practice, don't think that it's just this 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Really, it's a life-changing event. It's really quite profound, and that's why I advocate, if you don't think you're that sort of a spiritual or a meditational person, but it's for everybody. It really is for everybody. Now, if you've liked this video, please like the video. It's good for the algorithm. Share, subscribe. I put up content now every week, maybe twice a week. And you can always contribute. Buy me a coffee. Clicking on the link below, helping to contribute to the channel so I can dedicate more time to sharing these things. Well, I thank you.